Excellent. Well, hey guys, let's get it started. Cameron might hop on and join us, but appreciate you taking the time to join today. I know everybody's got a busy day, so wherever you are in the world, again, thank you for taking the time. Much appreciated. So my name is Matthew Barry, Business Development Manager here at myDevices. I've been with the company for about a year now, and really my role here is to chat with folks like yourselves and understand that the projects that you're working on and really speak to how our technology can best enable you and kind of streamlining the processes that allow you to bring IoT services to market. So super excited to give you kind of a high level overview today. And, like I said, we'll kind of keep things as conversational as we can, given the format. If there's any questions as we're going through, feel free to throw them in the chat, or there's a Q&A section as well at the bottom of your screens. So we'd love to hear from you guys as we're going along. And then, towards the end of the presentation today, I'll provide you guys a link if we want to set up some time separately to kind of go over your specific projects. And if there's questions that you guys have, in follow-up to this conversation today, would love to schedule some time separately. So, I'll give you kind of a high level overview, and then we'll dive into things. At its core, myDevices is a complete end-to-end IoT solution platform, really aggregating a lot of the pieces that are fragmented in the IoT space today, bringing together, a lot of the barrier to entry in IoT, which is, how do we get hardware? How do we get it connected to a network? How do we visualize that data, and how do we meaningfully act upon that data that's being collected? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and give you guys a bit of an overview of myDevices, who we are as a company, what we do in the IoT space, and then we'll kind of open things up for questions there. So let me again go ahead and share my screen. So I'll give you kind of a quick background on myDevices as a company before we jump in. We've been in the IoT space for the better part of a decade now, well established. Founded in 2013. We're headquartered out of Burbank, California, but employees across the United States, like myself here in Orlando, Florida. And we're also completely global operation. So we do have an office in Paris, France, as well as deployments throughout North America, South America, Europe, Asia Pacific, you name it, we're there. Enabling companies both from 1 to 2 man mom and pop shops, all the way up to some of the largest organizations in the world. You see the name, T-Mobile there, Sodexo, Aramark, really providing them foundational technologies that, again, streamline the process by which they're able to bring IoT services to market. And really, the way that we do that is by unblocking IoT. There's a first mile to IoT that I think it really creates a barrier to entry, as I mentioned. And it's, how do we obtain hardware? How do we get it connected to a network? How do we visualize data across different applications? And then how do we integrate that data to make meaningful actions on top of that? So really, again, what we do is aggregate all these different pieces together, covering that first mile of IoT in a much faster time. So, quick time to market for you guys. You're not spending your time, resources, money on the R&D side of things. We can quickly spin up sensor solutions, so you can really focus your time and energy on providing meaningful solutions to your clients. So to kind of break that down a little bit further for you guys, I'll kind of walk through everything step by step here. And I really like to start on the sensor side of things. So what you're looking at right now is our store page, our sensor catalog. So we're partnered with about 400 IoT sensor manufacturers today, offering around 1,100 devices as a service. And we warehouse and hold our own inventory in California, which is important because it allows us to be a single point of hardware acquisition. What that means to you guys is that you're not juggling multiple vendors on your side, going to Dragino for temperature and humidity sensors, and then Netbox for window and door sensors, so on and so forth. You can place a singular order with us, but then additionally, because we get hands on these devices, we can then manage all the pick, pack, shipping, and pre-provisioning of the devices before shipping them out. And that pre-provisioning process is really, really important because, again, each of these individual sensors has their own APKs and APIs, and they have to be configured both to a network and an application. And that's where a lot of companies get hung up, is just getting sensors, that solve for the use case that they're looking for. And how do we then visualize that data, right? So again, instantly, all your devices arrive plug and play ready to speak back to a sensor application. So this is the front end of the application that you're looking at right now, which there's both a web app as well as a mobile application. And this gets completely white labeled. So your logo, colors, branding, it's your product. We're really just behind the scenes kind of standing this up for you. And again, everything arrives plug and play ready. So it's as simple as we pick a different location here. So if we want to activate a sensor at Acme Company, we're going to hop in, we're going to add a device. If we're on the mobile app, we can just scan in a QR code, or here on the web app, punch in a device ID, name it. In just a matter of seconds, we're able to start visualizing that data. And this is a pretty robust interface, right? So, as you can see, we get a list view of all the different sensors that are here, and we're getting some pretty great information based on those sensors, data that's being collected. But we can also visualize that data in dashboards. So, that may mean using one of our templated dashboards for some of the more popular solutions that we're seeing deployed in the market today. So that could be something like predictive maintenance, or energy metering, or water metering, whatever it may be, right? And we're able to collect all this great data. But secondarily, you can do things like create custom dashboards. So we can actually come in here and we can just start dragging and dropping widgets, right? And it could be information that we're pulling from a particular sensor, or we've got all sorts of widgets here for real-time data, controls, visualization. So I'm kind of just randomly dragging and dropping things in here now, but I think you get the gist of the capability here. You can kind of move these around, resize them, really create the custom views that you're looking for. And ultimately, at the end of the day, that may look something like a HVAC dashboard that provides all this meaningful information across different sensors and different pieces of equipment. So lots of customization that can happen there. Additionally, this application provides things like reporting capabilities, alerting capabilities, which I think is pretty important, right? So not just visualizing this data, but also creating meaningful actionables based on them. So that could be something like, we pick a sensor, whether it is a freezer, just as a simple example, and maybe we want to collect temperature data. And we can set thresholds on that, right? So, alert me if we're above 45 degrees, below 30 degrees. We can add rules on top of that. So, hey, only alert me between particular hours. Let's say it's overnight and there's nobody there. Or secondarily, alert me if the condition remains for X period of time. And then we can create an unlimited list of recipients who would then get text and or email alerts based on those notifications. So that's, again, a single pane of glass really is what we're talking about here, which we can mix and match any of the 1,100 sensors that we're offering and be able to visualize that data in a singular space. And again, everything being plug and play ready. So it's really on your end, just scanning devices in, placing them where they need to be, and we'll start aggregating that data. So I'll stop there for a second. Does that all make sense to you guys? Do you have any questions? Let me stop sharing for a second so I can hop into the Q&A section. Looks like we're good. Perfect, guys. So I'll keep rolling here. So, this may be the first stop for the data, right? We have about half of our partners who white label this application as a way to simply spin up sensor solutions, visualize the data, and that may be their end product, which is fantastic. But secondarily, we've got a host of partners who are looking to use this aggregated data and flow it into, let's say, a work ticketing system or a building management system, Upstack Analytics, whatever it may be, right? Which we can pretty simply do utilizing our integrations capabilities. So number of different ways that we can go about that, whether it's utilizing webhooks, cloud to cloud integrations. We do have a REST API as well. And really, kind of the behind the scenes on all of that is, managed through the back end side of the console here. So that's what you guys are looking at now. And, first and foremost, what this is a high level management tool for you guys. Typically what we're seeing is that our partners are white labeling this application. They're able to provide unlimited instances to their own clientele so that your clients are seeing their sensors, their data, again, under your branding, but they'll each have their own instance of the application. And you can manage your customer base here through the back end. So see all of your customers, you can drop in on locations, see which sensors are deployed there, do things like remote access the front end of the app, as well as do things like bulk provision sensors, bulk deletion of sensors. So again, really just a high level management tool that allows you to not only manage your client base, but their sensor deployments to scale. But also this is where kind of the behind the scenes all runs in terms of how do we get these devices plug and play ready, and how do we integrate that data with other platforms, again, making them reverse compatible with our 1100 plug and play ready sensors. And that really happens through our device templates. So that's provisioning these devices not only to speak to our application, but a network server as well. So we've got the connectivity side of things handled. And, these templates are really powerful because, we can really get into the devices and configure them to collect the data that's most important to you. So, I believe that we had a question about machine runtime. So just as a quick example of how we accomplish something like that with the Utility Hot Drop device, which it's probably one of our more popular sensors right now for electrical metering. But secondarily, we're able to get into the template of the device and do things like provide machine runtime, machine downtime information. So really just configuring these devices to get you the data that's most important to you. And then secondarily, we've got a codec editor. So when we do integrate devices, we're using a webhook, let's say, it normalizes those payloads for you into a JSON file, making for pretty seamless integrations there. So again, I'll stop for a second. Does that all make sense to you guys? Any questions? I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. I'm got a little something in my throat here. Perfect. So it looks like we're good there. So the next thing I'll kind of cover is support and training side of things. So, our business model is such that, again, we operate through partners like yourselves who white label this technology and bring it to market. So how do we then support you guys in being successful deploying these solutions to your partners? So we're pretty heavily involved on that side of things, whether it's providing things like device consultations, ongoing weekly project calls, API support, integration support, as well as a full training and onboarding process. So really the engagement on our side follows a pretty standard path, right? By which we are onboarding you guys in a way that allows you to be most successful. And it really kind of hinges on this initial kickoff call with which our team engages with your team. We get a full understanding of your sensor solutions, projects you're looking to deploy to market, as well as understanding your 30, 60, 90-day goals, right? So that call typically involves different folks from our organization. So implementation management, sensor experts, business operations. And again, it's really just us getting to know you better, you getting to know us better, and how we can best partner. So in simultaneous with that, we're building out your realm, right? Getting the software ready for you guys. Typically, we're ordering some hardware on that kickoff call. So in about a week's time, we're able to deliver the software side of things, the hardware side of things, and then we schedule a formal training. And that's where we get you guys familiarized with, hey, how do I create the dashboards that are most meaningful to my clients? Or how do I manage my integrations? Or how do I create a hierarchy within the application, whether it's the front end or the back end? Who has access to what locations and information and dashboards, and who can edit what? So that all happens as part of that training process, which really stages us into a good position to then go through a supervised proof of concept. So that could mean deploying sensors at your location, a customer site, and we'll validate that the data is flowing correctly, that our dashboards are all set up properly. We've got the hierarchy of contacts set the way we need and alerts, really just staging everything so that we can then within about 4 weeks, 30 days, be in a good position to start scaling everything out. So, again, this is all very high level, and the best part about my job is we're talking about powerful things. 1,100 sensors, a single pane of glass application for visualizing that data, lots of integration capabilities, making really any platform compatible to be plug and play ready with all of our sensors. But the fun part is really getting an understanding of what you guys are working on, and then how this technology can be used to provide meaningful information to your clients. So again, I'll open things up for questions if anybody has anything. If you want me to take a deeper dive into any particular aspects of the application, or if there's questions there. So I think, see, we've got something in the Q&A. Can you show locations by room numbers? Yes. So Jarrett, what we have in the front end of the application is mapping capabilities, and that could be utilizing our Google Maps or things like floor plans. So let me see if I've got one set up here, and I might just pull up another view because I know we've got one in here. So if we were to pull up, not only do we have the like satellite mapping, but we've also got, we can load in custom floor plans. So let me see if I can find one here. There we go. So we can go to the sensor map. And if you imagine that this was like a hotel with room numbers, we can actually deploy things like beacons if we're doing like a panic alert button situation, which is pretty popular in the hospitality space. In that scenario, if an emergency situation occurs and an employee presses that panic alert button, we're able to ping it. And then, oh, Brian said I'm not sharing. Let me pop back in here and share. There we go. Can you guys see now? I think we should be good. But yeah, essentially we can create a custom floor plan. And then again, if we're looking for something down to the room level, we can get that information. Again, if a panic alert button is pressed or we're doing some sort of indoor asset tracking, we can get everything down to the room level there. And I appreciate you pointing that out, Brian. So Jared, I hope that answered your question. If not, let me know. And Ravi had asked if the front end of the application is multilingual for other regions and countries. Yes. So I believe that we have 8 or 9 languages built in there. If there's a particular language you're looking for, Ravi, then if you can shoot me a message, I can get you more information in terms of specifics on those languages. Jarrett, I see your comment here. How show on the landing page manage list? Could you elaborate on that for me? I'm not sure I totally understand the question there. So the manage list would be a list view of different sensor deployments. So, again, we could have multiple locations here, and then we can manage a list view of different sensors in a particular location. Let's say it's a temperature sensor, then we can drop in on that in particular and get historical information, all that good stuff. And then on that side panel, so we've got the manage list. We can do a grid view. But then secondarily, that's where these dashboards all live. And again, that could be, templated dashboards on particular use cases, as well as, custom dashboards. Awesome. And Ravi has another question here. Can I demonstrate how to implement cascading notifications? Yeah, let me see if it'll let me do it on the demo platform here. So, good point, Ravi. So, as part of these alerts, right? So we go in here, we want to set up an alert on a particular piece of data, whether it's temperature or whatever it may be. We've got our thresholds, and then we create those notifications. We can do cascading. So if Valerie doesn't respond to the notification, then we ping Mike, Andrew, kind of in like a round robin format. So we can certainly do that, but I think that's something that would have to be built out more so on the back end, but certainly a capability. Guys, we've got about 5 minutes left. If there's any other questions you guys had, whether it's revolving around the application side of things or the hardware side of things, we would love to make sure that we get all your questions answered. And while I give you guys another minute to pop that information in there, I will direct you to, if you guys do want to set up a follow-up call regarding any particular projects that you're working on, you can schedule time with me directly to take a deeper dive into any aspects or the particulars of your projects by going to mydevices.com/Matt. And we could, again, just set up time to speak more in depth about, the business model and, how you guys are looking to provide solutions to your clients. So I think that we're out of questions here. So we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Again, if you guys are looking to set up a secondary time to discuss more in depth, feel free to hop on mydevices.com/Matt and schedule a time to talk. Again, love hearing the specifics of what you guys are working on and how our technology can help you. Really the fun part of the job there. So, look forward to chatting with everybody soon. I appreciate the time today and hope everybody's well. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.